Okay, we're live. Good morning. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. It is July 8th, 2026. Okay, so I'm going to jump in. So first of all, the most important tool I've had to figure out where the two tools to figure out where the swings are coming from is that market tide for ES. Number one tool. Okay. So yesterday, even if I don't execute it well, it's all right. I'll get better. And I still had an okay day measured against the day I could have had. Right. So the key thing here was the cross. When calls start above zero and they dip below zero like this, when price dips below the zero line, so the zero line is just where we started the day. Uh, I don't know how they conceive it because that it technically doesn't make sense, right? If we started the day up here on price, so it has to start where we're I'm not sure. I read that. I posted it yesterday. I still don't get it, but I know when price crosses under that zero line, like it did. Let me show you three things that are key that I don't totally understand, but that's all right, right? So three things are key. First of all, the puts being above the zero line, the calls being below zero line, a, and and the net volume being negative. Okay. And then the fourth piece of that is price being below the zero line. So there's four components. And if you look, it went in sequence. First, we get the cross. We knew that at about 8:33 a.m., right? Then we clearly get a push away from that zero line on the puts and the calls. That occurred at 8:39 a.m. Then at 8:55, excuse me. Then additionally, almost right out of the gate at 8:36, net volume turns negative. And then what you'll see that's also become important is we get new lows on net volume to the put side, right? That occurs at 8:54, and then clearly by 8:58, prices cross the zero line. Then you have everything in the direction you want, right? So if you go look at 8:58, this is where it put you on ES yesterday. Here, and I'll even use yesterday's GEX level. Let me close this file, close chart book, save all. Yes. File, open chart book. I understand that, Ed, but go look at the past charts. Every time it gets below zero, that's one of the keys. If you're going to try to apply, okay, so I'm going to give a fair disclaimer. If you want to apply logic to it, I'm totally with you, right? I agree, but it keeps working, right? So you're welcome to throw your hands up and I don't get it, but that's what I look for. So I don't understand it. I don't know why it works, but it does it over and over and over. And when I have more time, I can show you. But, and then when you correlate it, hold on, let me get yesterday's GEX before I go off. I'll sit down and show you, right? I agree. It does not make sense in my head either. Okay? It does not make sense in my head either. I didn't want this. I have yesterday's chart up. All right, it'll still give me yesterday's, which is what I want. And so if you will look, it's going to load every freaking chart. Hold on a second. See if I can fix it now. There we go. So if you look at yesterday, here's the sequence of events. Okay. Here, approximately, is when I get the first sign of a cross. Here is when I've got net volume negative, right? And here is when everything's underneath the zero line except for the puts, which are above the zero line. That is the three sequences of events. You don't have to agree with me. That's just how it looks to me, right? That's just what it does, and that's what I see repeating. And I know I'm getting the big swings when all four of those occur all at the same time, right? That's where I'm getting the big swings. And what am I targeting? The call walls and put walls below are what I'm using for downside targets, right? So then when you go from that, so now put that aside for a second. So that's this, right? Slide this over. Okay, I will slide that over. And so that's the first piece, okay? And that all occurred right here. You get all of them lining up right there at 8:57 a.m., okay? Even if I didn't have that, I have a pretty simple rule. When you are below the 100, right, when you first cross underneath that 100, right, you're underneath the GEX level, which was at 75.80, okay? So you'll notice when we got that initial cross, so this is a characteristic I notice, I can't swear to you, it works over and over. We tend not to close back above it on ES, not true necessarily for NQ, okay? So that's the first bar. You'll see we never got to close on it. Again, I hesitated to short it there because it was 8:32 in the morning, right? But you did get on the 8 tick a white dot down, white bar down, and again, pretty much a one bar stop. So this is what's important about it, right? Your RR, your risk, right? Even if you put it all the way back to the back of that zone, was 7 points. Your stretch for like the 7th time since I've been doing this, right, is almost 50 points. Scale at 20, let it ride, and then look for clues. Additionally, what my observation has been is from the time of that cross and the time that we flip negative volume, which are the two I've been watching, right? You have 45 minutes. So this is where we flip negative volume right here. This is where we had the cross. So let's just go and be a little more liberal, right? So that's 7:40, right? So you've got until 9:25 to get positioned. And after that, what I've noticed is it does exactly what it did here. You've got till right here to get your trade or not get your trade. Because what happens after that? It starts to get choppy. Hold on a second here. It starts to get choppy and the effectiveness of the rotations down dissipate. And that's exactly what happened after 926. We go through this consolidation, right? And then we come back to make two things. We came back to retest a prior day's high. That's what that was. That's why I'm leaving those green dotted lines there so you can see where we hit prior day's highs. Okay, and if you do the swing from the swing high to the low, we came back to the 62 retrace. Okay, here's where it gets tricky. Okay, see this through here, this little chop zone? Okay, so I took this trade. I did not call it in the room because it is very hard for me to prove this trade to you other than I see it over and over. So I want to show it to you. Besides being at location, okay, do you see how we got to this high, right? See how we got to this high right here? And then on subsequent lifts, see where we came back and we made an equal high? How the calls have declined. There is a visible divergence between the amount of calls being bought and the price of the spiders, okay? That is my clue. That occurred at 12:37. That is my clue that they're going to attempt to come back and fill back towards the calls. It works both long and short, by the way. I'm going to say it again. It works both long and short. Okay, so if you look at everything we had there, puts never crossed below the calls or vice versa again. Okay, calls never went back above zero, puts never went below zero. That is a trend day formation in general. Okay, if you look at all the good trend days that we have, they all look like that. Okay, next, I am looking for a divergence, meaning a pushback up where the calls do not respond to the pushback up to get short, or to get long would be another example, right? And then I am looking to push that trade, right, back towards where the calls are. Now, for those of you who are super technical or know options inside and out, I don't know why that works. I don't even know if it's logical, right? I do not know if you go, oh, look, there's price, there's where the calls are. Yeah, of course they're going to come back, but it happens a lot, right? The other thing that happens a lot is when we touch, these two lines touch, like we come up, we come down, and they finally touch. You'll notice that touched at 924. It either starts getting choppy or responsive on almost every time. Where you really want to initiate is when we're away from those calls to go back to the calls. I don't know why. And I don't know why it doesn't work better on why it doesn't work with the puts as well as it works with the calls. I'm not even concerned about it. I'm just telling you what trades I'm taking and why I'm taking them. Okay. So I'm looking for that divergence, and then I'm looking for it to fill back in when it comes back down. Okay. So the other thing you will notice is if you initiate when we get below that zero line, and you can get your entries while this is still holding below that zero line, watch, gets back above. So you would get chopped. So you need everything else, right? This one's going to stop, right? And then you get, I would say this move here, I'm not looking for it to be an inch. I'm looking for it to actually move down. So clearly above, clearly below, you would have gotten stopped there, right? But the idea is that you finish off the piece by getting your algo. So you have control over the risk, right? Again, clearly above, back below. It works, and it works a lot. I don't know why. Okay, so I'm just pointing out the trade. What that translated over here to is when I saw the divergence would be at 12:33 p.m., 12, whatever this is, specifically 12:42. That is this right here. So first of all, I'm already at a location. I'm at 62 retrace, right? Here's where I get the divergence. Is right roughly in here. Okay, so now it doesn't always line up. I don't know why. Doesn't always line up perfectly, but I either would have taken that white bar down, okay, if that was my trade, or obviously the green bar with the double squares would have been the other trade. Okay, so those are the things I'm looking at. The way it looked on the six tick, which is where I entered from, was I took the, see how I got the, so what I've noticed, let me see if I can go back. What I've noticed is when we get to those key areas and they start getting absorbed, okay, so it has to be like a Gex or gamma level, okay? So what I notice is when you get to an area, so when I say get to an area, first you have to have location or a reason, right? Then I notice that they push. The push would be identified in the squares. We all know what the strongest squares are, right? So they push, right? And then as they push, right, either on the 6 or the 8 tick, see how they develop those squares? Those are the most powerful double squares we have right there, right? And I pointed this out yesterday morning, pre-market. Get a point of control completely underneath those bars, like in this bar right here, right? Or an algo down or algo stuffed underneath that bar, and you tend to fall away, right? So that's how that works. Again, this took me quite a while to understand and figure out, okay? And it didn't make sense at first. I can't say anything more than that. I've been at it since February, earnestly, right? And I spent a lot of long hours on it. So I am not an options expert. Some people will disagree with what I'm reading, but what I don't disagree with is I'm having in July, last June, one of my best months of the year, my best month of the year, hands down, because I'm getting these 50-point rotations, okay? 20, 30, 40, 50-point rotations out of them, okay? So if you'll look, and you'll look at that low. So for some reason, these didn't copy over, so I need to show you this real quick. If you will look yesterday, okay, this follows a pattern, okay? We open up, they test the Gex level, gets absorbed, okay? In this case, the guy that pushed was this yellow dot up. We didn't have a square on the 8 tick. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put them side by side. So we can see the levels, and we can see whether it did it on the 6 tick or not. Okay, so right to the right. Come on. And I'm just going to run through the clues, okay? Everyone's going to see this a little bit differently, okay? So up here, right, I am looking for the push up that gets absorbed. Again, I don't get on the 8 tick. It's this guy right here. That's the last push up. If I draw a line underneath them, the bar with a point of control underneath, okay? So it's right there. That's when it occurs. And that was probably, you could have taken the white dot down. You could have anticipated it by taking the green bar stuffed. There's lots of ways to do it. That's how it looked. Okay, I'm not saying it was layup time, or you could have just said, hey, I've got the cross at 8:30, right, which is where it originally occurred back over here, right? If you look over here at 8:30, right, you'd say I have the cross, and then you just had to figure out it was 8:32, so you would have just shorted in here, and you would have wanted, it was this bar specifically, and they do this a lot. I don't know why, but when it crosses, it tends not to trade above that bar, and that bar was where we got the cross. Okay, next. We go down to a prior day's high right over here. You will see on the 8 tick, they did not try to hold it. They traded right through. You can see they closed underneath. So let me tell you what you needed here to go long, what you wanted so you don't get smoked here. You wanted it to go below, above, backside test, green bar up. That's what you're looking for in every trap. You want to lose the level and regain the level. Okay? It then came to test Globex low. You'll see it got below, came back up. Now, let me be clear. Someone said, well, we trapped on Globex low. I'd be fine with it, right? If you think we trapped on Globex low and you're trading the 6 tick and you're all right taking it under the 100, right? Your entry was this green bar here or this yellow dot here. Both of them did not work. It's all right. Really, whichever one you took, it should have been, the green bar was the third bar up, so they should have both been 1 bar stops, and neither one worked unless you scalped right out of it. But why would you scalp right out of it? Why would you scalp right out of it when your whole point of that trade is to get the swing back to the upside and certainly target back to IB high or mid, right? So it makes no sense that you would take that trade. It makes no sense that you would take that trade, right? And then just go, well, I'm taking it for 2 points and I'm gone, right? If you're going to trade contra, at least get the swing or have a reason. I'm going to point out something else that's going to be very, very helpful to you. If you will wait till you get your algo at a higher low, particularly that yellow dot at a higher low. So I'll give you an example. Let's say this entraptor, you were looking for the reversal and I was looking long. The one long I would have tried would have been this. And I went through this with someone yesterday in the room yesterday. Let me show you why. I'm going to shift gears for just a second, okay? I'll do it on 6 tick and 8 tick, okay? If I take my yellow dots with the higher low, okay? So it's got to come at a higher low after a pullback, okay? So I would go entry, stop. I don't think you're going to take both of them. So you either took this one or this one, entry, stop, all 1 bar stops, right? So just follow me. You're executing this with no rhyme or reason. You think it's long. That's why you would be executing this idea, right? So you took 3 stops. 3 stops, right? Full stops are 18 points because you got no scales on any of those, and all of those were at higher lows, okay? But then you take this one right here, okay? And your RR on this trade is 36 points. So you took 18 points and 3 stops. And this is assuming you can't read anything else, right? You can't read volume. You have no ability to read the chart. You don't know where support resistance are. You don't know if there's a reason for the market to bounce. You don't know anything, right? If you just took those systemically, which I'm not encouraging anyone to do, you lost 18 and you made 36, which is a 2-to-1 RR for your risk against your reward. And you covered off more than that because you're getting 1, 2, 3. You're covering off 3 trades for every stop, right? Now, be able to read the rest of the tea leaves would be my suggestion, right? The only thing that was missing on the 6 tick that I wish we would have had, but we did not have, was I would have liked to see a push down here. So I'm going to go back over here, okay? On the 8 tick in that same area, again, I'm showing you higher lows, right? Even if you wait for the reversal while we're coming down, make sure the algo you take long is a higher low, right? So you will notice a couple of things here. First of all, you finally did get your push down. Let me erase the lines here. Okay. When you look at the low, dang it, I erased, there's a wall right here, just so you know, we regained it, okay? So same idea. First of all, if you're taking your yellow dots up, if you'll just wait till they come at a higher low, right? So this was obviously, you're not going to take it into the gig zone. That would be crazy, right? So you're coming down. If on the 8 tick, this was your first yellow dot high or low in that whole sequence. Okay, I'm going to say that again. This was your first yellow dot at a higher low over the 100, right? This is your, you got to think through yellow dot. Okay, so if you look and you took all your yellow dots, were they profitable on the 8 tick? They were, but there's days where they won't be. Okay, so if you go, hey, I want a higher low when I take this, I want this signal to come. So you had two choices, green bar stuffed and green bar up. Now I'm going to tell you, I would not take green bar stuffed unless it came above the 100. Okay, above it, cool. Below it, not cool. Same for white bar stuffed. Okay, I would not take it. So that means this is your first higher low algo, right? After we have fallen significantly. Okay, additionally, see if I can restore. Now I've lost everything. So you know that we're rolling down. Now go back and look at your charts. Let's say you didn't take the original cross, right? We are under the 100. Every single trend day down we have looks like this. You still know that the initiation occurred between, let's say, anywhere between 8:30 and 8:50. That's where we got all the information that said we were going to be short. And even if we didn't have the options data, you can simply look at the chart and go, we're below the 100 and we're below the 200. You could have even said, I'm not going to do it until the 6 and the 8 are both below. And that occurred at 8:40, right? So now look at what you have underneath. Okay, look what you have underneath. White dot down. Okay, that's on the 8 tick. Over here, same time frame. White dot down, right? White bar down. We get down to that prior day's high, should have bounced, right? Doesn't get the bounce. Underneath, right? Underneath, right? You either get green bar down, right, as your trade, which is fine, right? You could have taken the white bar down, but that's hard to take. Let's flip up and down. This is 3 bars up and green bar down. Or you could have taken the white bar down underneath. Again, on that 8 tick, that should be a 1 bar stop, by the way. Okay. Either way, you still got the flush to the downside. You were only thinking short here. So one of two things should have happened, right? In the room, I'm going to point out, hey, that's a potential reversal. If that's what you're looking for, there's a reason to bounce here, right? But what I'm looking for is my highest win rate and my biggest P&L combined together. Okay, I don't want to catch the reversal unless it's obvious as day to me, which it wasn't at that point, right? It wasn't at that point. What I did keep up with is I go, oh, I've gotten to the point where I've hit my maximum trade. You will notice when this gains momentum, it does not get back up to the 4th channel. So if you're waiting for that turn up here and that first, when the momentum first flips, you're going to have to get aggressive down here because it's not going to give it to you at the 4th channel. I'm 100% convinced of that. NQ will, ES will not. Okay. So now as you continue through here, right, you know that we've gotten past the prime, but even if you did that, right, look at the chart. Green bar stuffed, white bar down, white bar down, depends on how you did your stop, but then you have green bar stopped, green bar stuffed, push down, and white bar down. And on the 8 tick, you had white dot down, and white bar down. The problem was we were already down 650 points in NQ. We were below the prior day's low, and it was begging for a bounce back up. What was the first clue of that? Okay, well, first of all, we went supernova off a higher low. See that? We came down, we set the low, we set a higher low. Here's the supernova. We went supernova. Number 2, you'll notice the same characteristic. We cross over the 100. First clue to stop shorting, right? First clue, nobody, unless you were super aggressive, right? If you lost money shorting green bar stuffed right there, okay, that's because you said, I'm okay taking the most aggressive trade. Psychologically, I'm cool with it. I have no problem with the loss, no problem, right? Next, what you will notice is when we cross over that, right, and we're above, right, all of a sudden the big clue there was, look, the green bar stuffed gets stuffed, right? The green bar down gets stuffed. They try to get underneath the green bar with the square. Once they regain it and get the point of control, accelerate, and where are they going back to? Back to that prior high, right? And now you have divergence between the two. On top of that, what I say, I'm not trading New York lunch. Why? New York lunch chops. If you lost money over New York lunch, which was all of this, all the way through here, this chop fest right here, that's on you, right? You just, at the end of the day, I have to be crazy if I want to trade New York lunch. It just doesn't work out. enough of the time, and I spend a ton of emotional capital uh, taking that. Right here between 12:30 and 12:40, you get your divergence. What could have you taken? Again, once you saw the divergence, white bar down with one bar stop. By the way, sometimes it takes two shots to get it. Or if you wanted to be super aggressive, green bar stuffed. And then you'll also notice what I covered. The green bars with the squares that get absorbed once you get the point of control underneath, holds the swing and rolls it back down. That's a big swing there, right? If you look at that swing, that pushed you, even if you waited for the white bar, for a 6 point stop, gave you a 27-point win. That's a 4-to-1 RR on that trade. How would have you known to cover off that trade? Okay, well, first of all, two things that would have known. We rarely close at the low, right? Secondly, that was a 62 retrace going back the other way. Third of all, I'm pretty sure that was news driven, right? But once it got back, and at minimum, if you shorted here, once we closed back above the 100, close it out. That's how you handle it. And if you will go through those market wizard books where those guys make a lot of money, this is just a quick side note because it's 826, right? If you will go through those market wizard books where those guys make a lot of money, the guys that make a lot of money get their initial target. They don't move down their stops unless they add to the trade or pyramid it, right? And then they either go, well, it either goes a lot or I get stopped. Like I'm done. It's either going to come back and stop me out or it's going to home run grand slam. That's how they do it. Like it's unquestionable. You don't believe me? Go get the book and listen to it, the latest one. Over and over, same example, different guys, different methods, but it's all the same thing. I put on the trade. I take off my initial risk. Some of the guys are insane. They actually keep doubling up the risk and just moving down the stop, right? But that's the guy who also made the most money, right? But either way, they go, hey, once I'm in and once I put in my stop, it either goes, right? I take off my risk and it either goes for a home run or I get stopped on balance. I'm not completely changing my method to that because I know how ES trades too well, right? I know it bounces and it trades two ways. In stocks, that probably works better. But it does make sense when you think about it to let the trade push. Okay, and I'm going to say it again. That's where I'm pushing the room. Okay, I'll say it again. That is where I'm pushing the room. So give me just a second here. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Let's see if I have anything else. So anyways, that's all I have. I'll see if we can get across. I was hoping for a bigger gap down. I hope they'll push, and we'll see what's what for today. Know what you want to trade and trade it. That's it. There's multiple methods here, right? No one's expecting anyone to trade all of them. I can't even trade all of them, and I'm pretty good at flipping from one to the other, right? I like the trade where everything's underneath the 100, the volume's negative, right? The calls are under the puts or vice versa, the opposite of that setup, and I have clear targets up and down, okay? So that's what I will be trading. File, close chart book. Save any changes? No, I have not finished the over under 100. I'm working on it. I'll get it done. I got to close that. Um, yeah, it's 2 minutes till. I won't cover anything new. Does anyone have any questions for the day? Is everyone clear what I'm going to try to do? Is anyone confused? Now's the time to ask me. I'll check the econ really quick while we do that. Trump's tweeting, by the way, right now. He's saying the same thing he said last night. I would hate to strike desalinization price plants, but may have to. Blah, 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 blah. We have 9 o'clock U.S. wholesale inventories. ECB guy speaking right now. Trump speaks at 10:15. That's a non-normal time for him to speak. So let me set an alarm. Hey Siri, set an alarm for 10 a.m. Trump speaks in 15 minutes. Okay, got that covered. U.S. consumer credit at 1 o'clock. FOMC meeting minutes. That's a non-meeting meeting, so not as big a deal. And we are open. Let me set this back over here to 10 minutes. I'll just do 30 minutes. Refresh. Give me just a second here. So who knows how that'll all work out. Let me get this refreshed. There's the 30-minute picture. Calls over puts. So there you go. We'll see how long that lasts. That open seemed optimistic, but hey, who knows? Still calls over puts, hands down. Looking for that cross, looking for volume to go negative. If not, it's up. Like that makes sense when you think about it. Trump is still going away at it, so we're going to keep whipping as long as he keeps talking. Just FYI. I don't know why the market loves to do that, but it does. Above the 100, everything. So just, yeah. And off we go. Again, we're over. Everything's green. There's no reason for me to look short here at all. We're over the 100, right? We're driving higher, and whatever Trump was saying, they liked it, and that's that. So I didn't see it in terms of, oh, I should get long, but I'm over I'm over my level, and buyers stepped in, and that's totally okay. And there's no sell pressure. So we'll see where that goes. I just didn't see the long. That's all right. One second, guys, whoever messaged me. Yeah, there you go. Sorry about that. There you are. There's just no reason to be short. That's actually, we've crossed the puts below zero, calls above zero, over the 100. I just didn't get the long, so shame on me. And it's pretty easy for me. I got to see those cross, or I won't sit here and fight it. Even even if I disagree with it, right? I'm not going to sit here and fight it, right? So that's a complete, almost back to zero recovery on NQ. I'm looking for at least lower highs if I was to be. I'm only mentioning this for those who want to short out the high, right? I want to break a swing, something. I'd like to get underneath the 100, all that stuff. I don't have to be the first one in the into the fight, right? And you can see we're still well below where we broke down from last night. So it's all fine with me. I can wait a long time. NQ is actually positive on the day, right? So I know what I'm looking for, and I'll get it when I get it.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
I didn't realize we were down that much when we opened. That was a mistake on my part. So we're coming back to almost test yesterday's low, and we're above yesterday's low on NQ, which is all fine. Under the 100 on the 24, nothing on the 8 or the ES yet. And you can see the RTH lows right there at that 75.01. Again, I do not think you have to be the first person into the fire at all. And I want, for me, everything to line up. Doesn't mean there's not a good short there. Just means I want it all to line up. That's all it means. NQ down now 78.80. That was a very interesting response from the market to that information, I thought. On NQ, if I can get a up and a white bar down, I will attempt it, or a white dot down on NQ. Not there yet on ES.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Green bar down was close enough. And it's going to be a 1 bar stop for me. I'll take it. I'd rather take it multiple times and just catch the fall away, but I will push. This is not a quick scale for me. Okay. I'm looking to retest RTH low.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
And we have econ in just a couple of minutes as well, so just keep that in mind. So I got stopped on that. I did not take a scale because I was trying to push, and I'm all right with that. That was by design, but you had obviously plenty of money you could have taken off the table there without any problem.
Order
I'm taking
filled.
the white bar again. There must be news out again. I got insta stopped. So I don't know what to say about that, other than that's what happened.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
And I am short that white bar down, just FYI, on that 24 tick. And I may be totally wrong. We do have econ coming up, so I may get wackarood. But that seemed like a BS move to me. And I'm taking it on process, right? Wanted to add on that white dot down too fast. I wasn't ready. My goal is to revisit RTH low. Don't know that I will, but that's my goal.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
My stops now moved to 60. And it's going to get hit. Hit. That was damn fast. Just super fast on NQ today. Again, I'm shorting against. So my net volume just went negative, right? It's a big drop off there. My net volume just went negative. I took it again at 49. I just have it set to automatic white and green bar down. That's why I'm getting fired. So stop at 65. Okay, I may get stopped. I know what I'm doing in terms of I'm trying to teach myself to push these trades. Net volume just flipped negative. Calls still above zero, puts below zero. And I'm thinking, right, that whole move, the reason I am shorting it is because I'm trading against the grain, basically. And that's it. But on process. So I will add to this trade if I can get the calls to cross below zero, or to get the puts and the calls cross, either way. And there we go. I'll take half off here and add again on my next algo entry. So that's a 48 to 96, 50 points. I really needed it to cover off the stops there. So ES is 6 ticks now below and 8 tick now below. I'm looking for entries there as well. And we do have econ coming up. Very, very fast market.
Order filled.
I would really not like to close back above the 200 again. It may, but I'd like it not to at this point. And I like to see the rest of the pieces come together. Again, price is below that zero line now. Some people don't think that matters. It matters to me. And obviously, if you need to cover and you don't want to trade into econ, I get it and no problem. A little bit, as long as they set up underneath that purple line there, Vinny, I am, but they're not yet. And we have econ in 4 minutes, so I'd probably wait the 3 minutes now. I want them to set up underneath that purple line. If they don't, I'm hesitant to do it, or if I'm taking them, it's very speculative. Like that white dot down, white dot down, white dot down. As long as it's underneath, I'm good. If it's above, I'm not so good. Or at least I recognize that it could rip against me. But there's 2 minutes now, so you might as well just wait it out. And Trump juiced the market right out of the gate, so we will see.
Order filled. Order filled. Stop filled. Order filled.
All the way back. Man. Again, I don't know why or what's being said, and it doesn't even matter to me. That's why I want to be, when I'm pressing hard, I want to press underneath that purple. I want the green to cross under the calls. I want it all to line up, but I certainly want at minimum below the purple line. So I'm going to assume we got more lovely news or another tweet or whatever it is. IMF inflation data, whatever that is.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Right now, it's calls over puts. We're above the zero line, and it's been one weird morning. That's all I can say. So whatever that is, that is. So no control over that. There's the 9 a.m. number.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Back down. We're just all over the place today. One of those days. They will work it out. We haven't gone positive. We're still, it's in a weird place, right? ES is down decently. They're trying to bounce NQ. You got me.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. order filled, order filled, order filled, order filled, order filled.
Back below the 100. And there we go.
Order filled, order filled, order filled, order filled.
Again, volume's gone negative over here, and it's still negative. That's the first sign that there's an issue. So we're either going to end up with, when that happens, we usually either end up with balance or the green and the red cross. When that green crosses, I will take a position on ES. I'm just letting you know right now. When the green crosses the 0 line or the put line, I will initiate an initial position, then add as it sets up. There's zero question in my mind about that, just FYI. And I'm still looking for a retest of the RTH low. Now, I may not get it, but that's what I'm looking for. Now, if you exercise the longs over the 100, you did fine. Okay? I didn't because I didn't trust it, and that's okay too. If you exercise your longs, yellow dots up, over the 100. Green bar up, that was the second bar, and then finally white bar up. You had an opportunity to get out of all those trades. Okay, so I may not do it perfectly, but I'm trying.
Order filled.
So Vinny, now I'm looking on the turn on NQ, white dot down, all our normal short setups below, and they should be no more than a bar and a half a stop on that. Most of them should go on that bar like pretty quickly in this condition. And it's the only reason it's aggressive is because we don't have the puts cooperating with us yet. And again, I know that we're trending when the 24 and the 32 can't close back above the 100, when you start to see that turn down and it can't close back above the 100, and that's usually confirmed by the calls being dumped and the puts being bought. And so, yeah. Yeah, I definitely would, Vinny. I'm looking for white bar down underneath that purple line and then stop if it gets over the purple line. Basically, long story short.
Stop filled. Order filled.
And we must be just doing this little bounce. I don't know why we're trading like this. It doesn't really matter. I just don't like it when it does it. And that's part of the reason why I love it when they all cross together, right? Is it makes it much easier on me.
Order filled.
You see, ES is not cooperating either, right? See how they're not aligned? They just aren't. They're not trading together, and they're just in this consolidation. So we'll see who wins what, when, and where. That would be what I would say.
Order filled.
Oh, sorry.
Order filled. Order filled.
So see how we're moving sideways and all the moving averages are sideways? That tells you a lot. ES isn't rolling yet. Uh, and it's just one of those weird days, right? You just sit patiently. That's all you have to do. Just sit patiently. It's super simple. See that? That's just wild.
Order filled. Order filled.
See what I mean? White dot down. Once you're underneath that purple, Vinny, you start to get the momentum. Now we need the puts and calls to cross. If we don't, it's probably balance. But I'm looking for a retest of RTH low. We'll see if we get it, but that's what I'm looking for. I had a little bit of trouble early on and took 3 stops because I was aggressive on the turn, and it was still, while it was pretty nutty. But had I waited till just we're underneath 100, I would have avoided not all the stops. And one of those stops was because I was trying to push the trade significantly, and I still am. ES below on the 100 on the 6 tick, and not on the 8 tick, but trying.
Order filled. Order filled.
The target is this RTH low and this call wall down here at 75.50 for both markets. Okay. Again, it's not straight out short because we don't have the crosses, but it does look good.
Order filled.
Again, I would like to want, just like it looks on NQ, I'd like ES to look the same way. Okay. I'm going to point this out again, even though I struggled with it a little bit earlier, right? Below the 100. White bar stuffed, white dot down. I'm not saying they were all perfect. Green bar stuffed, green bar stuffed, white dot down. Okay. When you get underneath that 100, you have a good chance for a counter rotation the other way. Okay.
Order filled. Order filled.
I've got white bar down on ES. I'm short on that. I'm just using the white bar down, green bar up algo on that with no Keltner filter. So it's taking any white bar on the turn after 2 bars up. Okay, so you can execute it manually. Again, RTH low is my target on that. We're coming back towards the mid of the session. How's that the mid? That can't be the mid. Ignore that. Something's wrong with that. Guys, that is not the mid. We're well below the mid. There's RTH low, ES. Primary target achieved. Okay, heavy scale for me there on ES. That means I've taken half off and I've moved my stop to 75, 75.13 and a quarter. Okay, if you want a little bit of room, put 14 and a quarter. Okay, I short on this white bar down. You don't need me to tell you that's the trade, right? 3 bars up, white bar down. If you're going to be aggressive underneath the white, underneath the purple, that's a valid trade, especially when we're first breaking down. And it makes sense that we would get a bounce now. Okay, that does not the same as I would go long. And if I was looking to go long, I certainly would only want to attempt it. If I'm going to contra this on an algo, number one is can we get over the purple bar? If I'm not going to wait for the purple bar, I'd like a higher low after a pullback up to the initial thrust for the algo to fire on. And I need to be prepared to get stopped a few times if I'm going to do that and push my third trade. For you guys that are just trying to do that reversal off the bottom, I think we should turn and flip right off the low, and then you're just taking 10 points, you're never going to cover off the loss ratio on that. Just FYI. If you keep taking, 10, 20, and by take, 15, 15, 15 on the stops, the way to solve that is the higher low. Again, I'm not taking the long here. To be utterly clear, I'm looking for a bounce back up to either to add more or to ride the trailers that I have. Okay, that's what I am looking for. Oh, so from the time this crossed negative volume, you usually have 45 minutes. That occurred, it's called that as the initial turn. That occurred on SPY, non-perfect setup, but that occurred at 8:53. So that's 9:45 minus 7 minutes. So you have 20 more minutes to make that work, right? And you've already in that 20-minute window where your best opportunities will come from. Okay. And we're not under optimal conditions. Why are we not under optimal conditions? Because, I'll say it again, because we do not have crosses. Calls are positive, puts are negative. Okay. If you can't hear that I'm relaxed, I'm very, very relaxed. I'm not in a rush. I've got nothing but time. Back above, because so the reason we're doing this balance big rotation thing is because we're not all lined up for trend day down. We're just not.
Order filled. Order filled.
Okay. So if you notice, you had to choose between the two. Is this okay? It is, as long as the 32 is also underneath. Again, everyone's going to develop their own little style, right? Ideally, they're both underneath, right? But if you're trying to figure out when do I stop taking on the 24, we'll look to the 32, right? If the 32 is still underneath, you're okay. If you, and then it's a degree of, well, how strict do I want it, right? That's all we're doing here, right? I got filled again on this white bar down. I wasn't watching, but I am. So I'm going to scale off. That went to full position. I'm going to scale back down to a half. So I was 1.5. So I'm back to a half now from '07 to '03. Okay, and that's just to pad the trade. Again, not trend down day condition with the calls and the puts above. Weird day, actually. And it is Fed day today. I'd just like to remind you all of that. And to not be in a rush. So see, if I was going to say, hey, we're going to bounce off of here, which I'm not saying, and I'm not taking this trade, but I would take the green bar up at the higher low and just take the stop on it. If I was wrong, I am not saying saying that, and I'm not arguing that at all. That is not the trade I'm taking, to be utterly clear. Okay, I'm just saying if that's the bar I would look for, right? But we haven't taken any punishment here at all, right, in the market.
Order filled. Order filled. Stop filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
News out, obviously, when they drive it that fast like that.
Stop filled.
Not a damn thing you can do. I don't know what it is. It doesn't even matter. It's just someone tweets something, and that's how it goes. Ridiculous. Stopped on my trailers, obviously. Thankfully. Not a damn thing to do. Back to the high. There's nothing you can do about that. And like I said, if I was looking for the long, right, the green bar at the higher low is exactly what I would have looked for.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Now I'm on pause, obviously. I'm not going to short over it, and it looks like we have balance. That's just an amazing sweep. What was that? In one swoop, 263 to 373, 100. Someone said boo. That's so let me pause for a second, right? That's why I like it when the calls are under the puts, right? That's where you get the big, huge, giant extensions. This is arguing balance because the net volume is negative, but the pushes are up, et cetera, et cetera.
Order filled.
Okay, that's what it's arguing for. And I have no idea what that news was. It drove NQ almost back to the high of the day, only down 30.
Order filled.
And that's what I mean when you have an overnight session. If you look at the overnight range, when I talk about that, right? Look at the overnight range on NQ. $29, 558, 28, 909, 600 points. Then from the low, right? 28, 909, all the way back up to 29, 399. NQ becomes very illiquid when we have those massive overnight ranges. And that's that. So I think there was plenty of opportunities to make money. It's just, I think it was hard. I still think it's hard. Like that's just a little bit psycho right there that we're sweeping like that on pretty much nothing. We're still in a bull market, right? That hasn't changed. But yeah, I didn't like the way the day played out. That's all. And let me tell you, if y'all are following me on these swings, right? You don't have to take these swings, right? I am because I've already done the math on them and I figured out when I get them right, I'm going to make it so much money as long as I enter correctly and manage off my risk. Okay, so almost every trade that I took was profitable in one way or another. So until you've had time to work it and think about it, you don't have to do that, right? There's no
Order
rule.
filled.
There's no rule on it. Okay? There's no rule on it. Just consider what you want to do, how you want to do it, and then it'll be fine,
Order filled.
right? It'll be fine. Just consider how you want to do it. I need it again in order to take shorts. I'm at the very top of the range. I want it to line up underneath the purple line. It keeps me safe, right? I don't get into those areas where we just go on those long options drives where they just pump it, pump it, pump it, and I get stopped over and over again. And if you're unsure what you should have done today, just ask me and I'll help you. And 5 minutes until IB high, IB low stat opens up.
Order filled. Order filled.
Have I confused anybody? Now's the time to ask because I'm just sitting here waiting. If I have, I can unconfuse you. I did not expect this today, and I don't know why I didn't. Because I did not, in all my work in the morning, I did not go, hey, where's the trade? And also, This 75.50, by the way, the 45 to 50, that's where the biggest puts and calls from a volume perspective line up. Wow. Well, there you go. I don't know what happened. I don't even care. Watch out for the V's, guys. Someone's talking somewhere. That's the only way you get that stuff. Do not get yourself run over,
Order filled.
would be my suggestion.
Stop filled. Order filled.
Looks like we're going to V that. As crazy as that is.
Order filled. Order filled.
At least they're going to try. So look at the price action, guys. See how yesterday was so controlled and we had it? The reason for that is that we're in a standoff. You don't have all three pieces lined up. You have net negative volume, meaning the puts are being spot stronger than the calls are. Okay? Calls are above zero, puts are below zero. So when you don't have all three aligned, it usually ends up being some kind of balance, which is what we're ending up with, right? Over a wide, fast, sweeping range. Okay? When we do best, so let me show you where it looks best so you know, is when it looks like this. Calls are above, excuse me, puts are above, calls are below, right? And net volume's negative. Okay, today, oh, that's only showing 30 minutes. Let's do the whole day. Here we go. There's yesterday, right? This is where I started looking for the shorts, right there. That gave us our whole trend. That was about our 45-minute window right there, right? Deal done, paid. Look at the difference. That's today. Not the same picture, right? So we'll just keep adjusting on that. I'll switch this to a 1 hour. And I'll switch this to a 1 hour as well. There you go. And you'll also notice the net negative volume. Neither one of them are excessive on either side. And that's another signature.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Now it's either IB low or IB high for the test. And I don't know which one it is. I actually see the puts coming off, not on, interestingly enough. But again, below the purple line, dot down, green bar down, white bar down. And again, I'll have the algo that does that automatically for y'all as soon as I possibly can. Okay. And what a mess on the 32 tick. Just nothing.
Order filled.
When I say, does anyone disagree with me when I say all those trades were profitable at some point? Does anyone disagree with me on the NQ? What I'm trying to make sure of is what I'm saying is concurring in the room, is happening in the room. What I emphasized for the last multiple weeks now, below the 100, Al goes below. Above the 100, Al goes above. Is that still holding true outside of the trade I took speculatively up there at the lower high? Yay or nay? I'm all right with nay. I just need to know so I get better at doing it. Cool. Thank you, Chase. Here we come for a test of IB low. There it is on ES and into the call wall. There's a call wall there. And we are most definitely in balance. Again, I don't care where we are at when those two cross, the calls and the puts, I will initiate an ES trade. I don't care if I get stopped because the wins have been so giant when it happens that I am good. So puts are coming up, they're buying them. Calls are coming slightly off. Okay, now I understand. And these constant buy-ups are very interesting.
Order filled. Order filled.
And I'm going to assume news again because, well, why not?
Stop filled.
Got to be someone talking each time we get those ridiculous swings.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
That is so hard on NQ when they fly it like that, like meaning the 67 to 35 move. Oh, okay. Well, he's gonna be talking all morning apparently, so that's fine. That's fine. Those are just algorithms that are programmed off the news. No big deal. I'm short ES against 13, and no idea if that goes, but it's white bar below the 100, and I have a stop in there.
Order filled.
And you can cover it as you want. We are at support. Okay, so manage it as you need to manage it. We're past the swing time, right? Like it happened a long time ago. So now it's just I'm working in and out on the trade and seeing if I can get any momentum down. Scale off heavy off that 07, 3/4 off, and trail stop 1275 balance. Quarter size left.
Order filled. Order filled.
IB stats been taken care of. Oh no, not on ES. Am I wrong about that? Because I don't have first hour high low on this. Yes, we took out the first hour low, so they're going to, that's an attempt to trap back in. Again, I'd wait for the higher low or until I'm above the 50 period there. Also, this is Fed day. They're usually kind of weird anyways, but yeah. That swept me out of my trailers. That sucked. Remember, we have Trump coming up again at 10 o'clock. Okay. 10:15, just to make it fun for everyone. And it would be unusual for them not to try to trap that first hour low. Again, what I want is up, backside test, green bars up. And there we go with more Trump love.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Again, 12, 12, just call it 13 is my stop on that ES. So I could get stopped just because I'm at that call wall and the first hour low, and I'm not sure I'm making the best decision there. But what I'm trying to do is get the big runs. Now, I may be trying to get the big run on the wrong day, right? Because I don't have it perfect, right? That's all right. I'm training my brain to do it correctly, and I will get that done correctly, by the way. But very hard, if you do not have a very strict process here, this is very hard to trade. I mean, look how fast the swings are. I don't know how one would survive. Back down. Remember, just be patient. You know which way you need to lean against each of those. If you're playing for balance, it's fine, right? We've tested this area pretty well. So again, what do I want? I want my algo to fire at a higher low. So even if I took this and it's small stops, I'm all right with it. And then that's where you have to decide. I'm only talking to the guys that want to contra off the lows, right? What else do you need to see? I think it's easiest just to wait till it gets above and below the 100. New low, testing the bottom end of that call wall. It may be a put wall. I may have it backwards, but same difference.
Order filled. Order filled.
That's on ES, by the way. So just waiting. NQ still down here. And the low on NQ is still, the weaker one is still down here. 29,207 will be a complete retrace. That was my target. They just made it very, very difficult to get. Puts coming down, negative volume. We've not crossed. When we cross, I'm telling you, when we cross, I will take a position short. It is Fed day. I don't have any data on Fed day. Okay, so just keep in mind, Fed day is harder than most days. But what I am not doing is catching falling knives here. I'll wait till I'm above the 100 if I'm going to look for longs. Otherwise, I will relax. What I'm not going to do is take ding after ding after ding, trying to find where they're going to stop this from rolling, right? And then the other interesting question I would ask me if I was in the room is, well, should have you traded at all, given that the calls are above and you're shorting with the calls above the puts? And that's a good question. I don't have a good answer for it. Because even though I'm doing okay, I am not having the day that I would have thought I had. And I'd actually been better off scalping out of all those positions than pushing any of them because of the stops I took when they came back. Or would have I been better off taking the options? Is the other question too.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Back to the low, pressing the low. This is a good place to trap traders on over presses, considering you have a press conference coming up in 30 minutes, but we'll see. There's nothing. New low in Q, no new low ES. But, oh, wait, new low on this swing, but not new low on the swing on ES. And NQ still has to test its low. That's still the target. I don't know why that mid is messed up, but I'll fix it later. I don't want to mess up my chart. Down we go. About to tag the low at 207. Again, I'm not speculating that they will hold that low. It's not my job. That took forever. I'm glad I'm recording this. I will go back through to see how I can improve it. Oh, well, good. There you go. Who likes those stinking ceasefires anyways? Didn't fall very much, given, right?
Order filled.
And of course, straight back up.
Stop filled.
That makes perfect sense.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Man, they are loosey-goosey with the options. Look, ES didn't even bother with the lift up. It's just an NQ. That tells you how loose they are on the liquidity there. Like anything lifts it. New low ES. Sounds like you pretty much announced that we're going to do some dropping the bombs. Puts are getting bought, calls are getting sold pretty dramatically. If you need the hour, it's on the it's in the room. If you want the 1 day, there it is. New low in Q. Again, you're not having a hard time if you're not getting if you're not trying to trade against that 100, right? You're just not. Pure and simple. I had a hard time because I got too aggressive too earlier, right? I've made it up, but I've had a couple of swooshes in there, thanks to Mr. Trump, and that's all right. Otherwise, I'd have a monster day. And I probably should have bought the puts up there when I first had the idea, which I will eradicate shortly.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Slow grind down, guys. I would not fight it. My experience has been when those cross, meaning the green and the red cross, that you have another 20 to 50 points when everything's aligned and the downside move within the next 45 minutes. Or they're stopped sometimes. Yes. But it's the same trade I've been calling out in the room over and over and over. You'll notice that the net volume on the puts is increasing dramatically, right? So I am looking for rallies up to get positioned, okay? And I'm hoping that cross, I hope we rally before that crosses, personally. I am not going long. But we're not exactly off a cliff either. We're only down 218 on NQ. It's just steady. ES is steady. There's almost no rotation in it. You don't want to sit there and fight that. We are coming into, what did I have this labeled as? This is a 79, it's a significant area. It's a prior day's low. Oh, that's a, why do I have that marked off? It's either a put wall or a call wall, but it's significant. And you'll see we traded just underneath on the Globex session, got back above. You didn't get the 3 bars back, and then that's off the 20 tick, right? So if you look at it earlier on the 6 tick overnight, so you can see what they did, what it looked like overnight. It looked like this. So see how it got below, right? And so look at the 3 things I'm looking for, right? Square down. I've got that here. Not exactly the best one, but it's this, or it's this. Either one. I think, excuse me, this one, right? Go back, get back above it, and get your green bar or your square up above. That was this. No pullback, or if you wait for the pullback, I don't know if you got anything if you had waited for the pullback on this. I don't know how you would have done that. It didn't set up on the 6. Well, it's set up here, but there was no pullback, right? It was just green bar up. And then this, if you took the 85 and you used a 12-point stop, you got it. And I don't think it's set up on the 8 either, but I'll look. It didn't quite set up at 8, except you got the dot stuffed over the 100 that gave the reversal. So more challenging overnight there. But same idea, that was the trap area, right? That was the trap area. And now you see they're trying to lift off the trap area, which is, again, totally, totally fine, right? So, again, I don't know why they lift every time Trump speaks like he's going to change what he said in 15 minutes, but hey, who knows? Maybe he is. And it did come out of that level. The natural target is 7,500, right? What I find myself doing is wanting to get into these trades when they don't set up, and I get stop-eronied because I'm too early, like that, right? Like I'll go, oh, it's a down bar, I'm just going to take it, and then, but everyone's short, so they're getting squeezed up. If that makes any sense.
Order filled. Order filled.
And then it just bursts to the upside, and then you're like, well, what happened? See what I mean?
Stop filled.
It just starts going, and you just got to let it be.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Be right back.
Order filled. Order filled.
ES has been much more straightforward. That missed the white dot by just an inch. White bar down. I need to check make sure I'm not short. Damn, I left without turn off. I am short that white bar down. I'm flatting right here at the market. Sorry, I didn't think I had it. We're just a couple minutes in front of Trump, 15 minutes. And as you can see, it's pretty sloppy. So I don't know who's talking again or what's going on, but it's pretty wild. Just, I'm not saying it's not all right. I'm just saying it's pretty wild on the moves up and down. That's all. Okay, like that. So someone, to me, that just says someone's speaking. I'm okay with it. I don't care per se, but yeah.
Order filled.
Anyone have anything? Like they're flying it. Someone has to be commenting on something.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
Okay, so what I'm trying to communicate is it's a hard market, right? It's super fast, mega fast, right? My early call was correct. It just didn't work out because I didn't have everything lined out. It worked out in terms of profit. It didn't work out in terms of the home run, right? Because I had too much volatility going on. But I will catch enough of these days where I don't have to worry about that. Okay. And that's why I'm playing the long game. I know it's not what everyone likes, but that is what I'm doing. It's 3 minutes till. I'm going to run over to my house real quick, myself a cup of coffee, and then we'll see what's what as we approach Trump. before I initiate. So I'll mark the time. It's right now. Do I love it? Nopers. Are you right in front of Trump? Yep. So now stop. You don't have to rush because you're in front of Trump, right? Think, do you want to short here or how do you want to do it? Don't impulse move into it. Make sure you've already thought it out before you get there, right? I need it to hold within 12 points, right? That's my trade plan, right? So that is what I'm working on.
Order filled. Order filled.
That means per contract, right? 10 points is $500, right?
Order filled.
And what I generally find is it won't close above. I can find a few examples where it will, but
Order
generally
filled.
speaking, I find that it doesn't close. So
Order
there's
filled.
two potential stops. You can use the 74.95 as a tight stop, or you can get behind this 76.01 at 76.05. And then if we get some one of those news things, you're going to get stopped. That's just what it is, right? So mine's at 06, and my stops are in place, and we will see now. And I'm either going to have a really good trade or a crummy trade, but I've pointed that trade out over and over again, right? I pointed that trade out over and over again. When we get that cross through the zero, and now it's crossing through the calls are crossing through the puts, right? And I'm willing to take the trade 2 times, although every subsequent time from here will have to be added on process, right? So this is initiation. If it stops, every other trade will have to go on process. Have I made myself clear on this? Is anyone confused? And I'm doing it in front of Trump. So all Trump has to say is, haha, just joking, and I'm stopped, right? So just go from there. Okay, and it is near the low of the day. So you have to take, so I'm putting down, I'm recording this, I have it in my notes. I'll take a picture of why I'm taking the short so I can put my notes together later. I'll put it in AI. Click, copy. Too many things open at one time. There we go. Okay. And this is what the chart looks like at this current time. My experience in this right in front of Trump is like zero. So slow down. That's what I'm telling you to slow down. We're near the low of the day. It's not early in the morning. I am following what all my research has shown, right? So here, I'll show you. This is what we are looking at. Wrong chart. I'll show you. On NQ, you have to wait for the right setup. Here's NQ. Oh no, that's ES. I got it right. So there, that's what it looks like. I ADD'd myself. So what's the advantage to me doing that? Now you can go, right? So I am short between here and 93.50, 91 quarter to 93.50 are my fills. Okay, somewhere in that range. I think I'm averaging out 90. I'll tell you, 91.50. Okay. Are my Does that make sense? Does that help how I explained it, or does someone have questions about the trade? And is that inconsistent in what is that consistent with what I've explained before about the trade? And if you don't like it, you can wait till after Mr. Trumper talks. I'm obviously good with that. Any feedback? Nada. Okay. This is just on ES. To do it on NQ, Vinny, A, you're right in front of Trump. NQ can fly if he says boo, as you've seen. And B, you should be on process for the entry on NQ. You can't take it on NQ randomly. Again, we need to do a coaching session on it. So for now, this is just ES. NQ, you have to get it near the top of the channel. Like that white bar down with the 1 bar stop would be fine. Or that white bar down with the 1 bar stop would be fine. Or on the 32, the white bar down. Any of that would be fine, but you can't take it without on NQ at where the market's at. It can retrace significantly on NQ while ES just sits there. There's a prior day's low there at 74.79, and we're at support, right? Doesn't mean it has to bounce, and we're retesting the low, right? So we'll see what Mr. Trump has to say in 1 minute. So again, that's the risk on this trade, and I'm willing to accept the risk on this trade. That's all you have to decide, right? Of all the times that this has occurred, right? All he has to say is April Fool's joke, or maybe we'll negotiate with him again, and then bam, I'm going to get stopped, right? It's all right. I've hit this trade at least 6 times in the last 3 weeks, more than that, but 6 that I can remember off the top of my head. And my RR has been 20 to 50 points, right? Not my risk return, but my profit has been 20 points. That, by the way, that's my same target here, because I'm trying to grab that. Well, I'm going to try and grab that 79 level in this case because it's logical to go to that. But I just never thought, oh, well, what if Trump's going to speak right in front of this? So I don't have an answer for
Order
that,
filled.
right?
Order filled. Order filled.
Now you have puts over 0, calls below 0.
Order filled.
So the cross was here, right? And I would expect 20 is my first scale, and then 50 is my extended target. From 91, 50 down puts me into this 52.49 area. So I may have to adjust that a little bit. But from where we're at, and based on the history of what I've seen, that's how I'm going to manage out the trade, right? You may want to manage it out differently. I have not seen it operate any differently to this point. The only time I've gotten stopped on it was I didn't have it all aligned. I had the cross, but the net volume was positive on that day, and I shorted and I got stopped. But then it flipped for me later in the day and I got paid, right? So yeah, that's my 2 cents. So 72 is where I'm targeting on this. But I'm sorry, 72 is my plan. I'm going to adjust because I'm right on this 48 right here. I'm going to take off half at 80, okay, or whatever this is, 80, 75, 81, right? Because I know that prior day's low and that we're in a call zone and it makes sense that we could bounce here. I'll leave half on without moving the stop, right? So the trade doesn't always work and I'm a little anxious because of, so Trump's usually late and usually he'll juice the market, right? I want to make sure I have the money, which now I do, to cover off my stop, right? I've paid for it. I send up slightly positive on the trade. Here's how you handle that. If you don't get wiped and you're in support, you can just take the money here because normally we won't have to deal with Trump on this trade. That's how I'm adjusting the trade for the situation. But my guess is we're going down to the flip zone. We're going to take out the flip zone and we're going to come down and test that put wall. So I'm leaving half on. If I'm wrong, right, I will donate my money back to the market that I have in pocket right now. So the way you manage that out is you sit and think, if I donate the money out right now, if I give this money back, will I be okay? That's part of the process, but I'll still be a little mad. Would you be, no, I'm freaking furious. I needed that money. That means you got to take the trade right now, cover the trade out right now, right? Or would you go, yeah, that's, or any variation besides I'd take that trade 100 times and do it the exact same way, you got to take your risk off, right? And then you got to decide whether you're going to move your stop to break even or leave it as is. I'm going to leave it as is. My experience is we don't get above the cross from the time it crosses. Sorry, I know you can't see this. From the time it crosses, my experience is we don't close above that cross very often, which means 74.95. If you get a bar that closes above it, you can pull it out, but I have the stop in the right place. And I knew, and I know, when he starts yapping, what does the market like to do? Well, hey, let's go on a run, right? So that's what we are doing.
Order filled. Order filled.
White bar down, below. So the easy way to do that, if I was going to double up the risk on this trade, which I'm not, just bring your stop to 74.91 now because it shouldn't get above that white bar down. It would be bad if it did. Generally, you run the risk of just getting tagged out. So this is where you got to go, hey, how am I going to execute the strategy exactly? Right? If you're going for the, hey, we're going to fall apart and tank all day, you leave your stop as is. If you go, no, I need it to all cascade into one, right? Really, it should be this. I didn't explain that clearly. If you're going to try to get it to cascade, you just got to bring your stop down one bar by one. I'm not doing that because I'm not stacking this trade. Okay, I'm going to say that again. I'm not doing that because I'm not stacking this trade. Okay, but the way you want to run that, is you've got to decide whether you're going to use that one bar as your stop or a 10-point stop or what you're going to do from that point to bring it in there. What I am doing is leaving my original stop and I'm going to see what's what, right? I'm going to see what's what. That's how I'm doing it because I've taken half off, right, for a little over 10 points. And I'm going to see if I can't get down to that flip zone where I'll go to a quarter and then I'll just see how it ends the day. And we'll go from there. Okay. That's the best I can do. And it may be wrong. So at 71, 72-ish roughly, I'll go to quarter size, and then I'll just leave the stop as is. It's a win-win no matter what. Again, this is where I thought we would find some attempt at response. It makes sense that they would absorb here. And once, if and when they break the 78.50, we should test that 69 flip zone, right? And between that 69 flip zone, Globex low is just behind it, right? So that's my target. I'm trying to manage this exactly as I've described it. I made a little adjustment for our wonderful president. I'm putting my limit it now at 72 even for the quarter size. And then I'll see what happens. At this point, if we closed back above 85, the trade would be in question. Okay. So just FYI. Sorry, I didn't see someone ask me a question. Almost there. Come on. No whammies. I need another 2 points. Should get it. 74.68 is the Globex low, so we should get at least within 4 points, you would think. Good Lord, come on. Bingo. Filled. Nice. Down to quarter size and let it roll. Obviously, if you want to take 20 and go, that's good too. Vinny, that's how that trade, that's our best trade in the room, hands down. I can't automate it yet. I'm working on it, but I don't have it automated. But that is our best trade, hands down. It is the most profitable trade I have. Thanks. We've done that, I think, 5 or 6 times now in the room in the last two weeks, long and short. It doesn't show up every day, and I got it right here, which is good, but I have a hard time waiting for it to perfectly set up sometimes. I'm still on a trailer. Now you just choose to bring your trailer to break even. The reality is it's 85, so you might as well bring it to break even, because if it gets back above 85, it would be trapped back above the 79. So I'll just bring it to 90. I'm just going to bring the stop to break even here. I got to think about how I'm going to manage that last piece. Stop to break even. Why fit not there? It would trap on 74, 78, 50. And that is a long. Okay, cool. And I have it recorded too, Vinny. If you want to show it to your dad, I'll have it on YouTube. You just got to remind me, and you show it to your dad when you're actually not in the middle of the night your time. But you should go get some sleep, man. That's, you got the meat of, you learned what you needed to learn today, and we got the meat of it. There's nothing else to hang out for. And guys, I know it's frustrating for y'all who need to follow detail-oriented process. I don't do that well. All right, I try really hard. This is as close as I can come. Okay, but again, every time I've gotten that cross where all four of those elements all line up, the price is above the zero line, the calls, puts, calls, doesn't matter, and the net volume is positive, I have gotten paid, I think, 100%. The one time I got stopped, the net volume was not in alignment. I'm 100% on that trade since I've started executing that. Have a good night, Vinny. Sleep well, mate. Mm. So the meat of the move has happened. So Chase, you can hear me, right? Yeah, it's already 10:32. We've missed the best part, and this time of day starts to get choppy, right? And you learned a lot, right? So pause, take time to write down your notes, what you would have done better. Go back and look now that you made the adjustment, and then we can come back and look in the afternoon and see if there's anything to do, right? Which there may or may not be, right? But the reality is this: you did some good learning, right? You had your stop a little bit wrong, no big deal. And now you just go, okay, replay the day perfectly now that you know where the error was in your process. And that's why you wanted to keep it super small when you started, which you did. Good job. And now just go back and look at it as you're making adjustments. That's would be my suggestion. Now I'm going to do the same because I goofed a little bit this morning. Right read, but I didn't expect the. See, if I just waited, I'd have been better off waiting for the cross and pounding the size and scalping out everything else than what I was, because it took like 3 stops in a row that were all profitable, and I'd have been just better off treating those differently. But I didn't respect the lack of a cross and that the calls were positive and the puts were negative. I should have, and that's okay. Adjustments made. But if you have not shorted by now, you are late. Okay, you are late on this trade. We are already down, same as yesterday. It would be normal. The true trend day down with no break or no breather over lunch is a rare unicorn. Okay, it is a rare unicorn. Does it happen? Yes, but it is a very rare unicorn. Also, you'll notice Trump basically said we're going to go back and duke it out with Iran.